Welcome to Influence, the show about one of the university's founding colleges, the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. I'm your host, Emily Shaw. On today's episode, we'll be discussing turfgrass management, and our first guest is Dr. Jay Mccurdy, an assistant professor in the Department of Plant and Soil Sciences. Welcome, Dr. Mccurdy.
Thank you for having me.
We're glad to have you here and discuss the Golf and Sports Turf Management Program. So if you will, tell us a little bit about that.
Our program's been in existence for more than 50 years.
Wow.
It's right now got an enrollment of about 40 students, including our graduate students.
Okay.
And we're really excited about sharing with you and the audience some of the things that we think we're very proud of, some things that we do very well.
Excellent. So you said you have about 40 students. What curriculum or what major do they fall under for this program?
Our program is within the Department of Plant and Soil Sciences. Our students graduate with a degree in agronomy.
Okay.
That program, though, is a standalone program having its own curriculum. I think that's 9 classes currently, including things like Intro to Turfgrass, Golf Course Management, Sports Field Management, so on and so forth.
Excellent. What kind of experiences do students get outside the classroom with this program?
Part of the cornerstone of our program is actually the co-op or the active learning program that we have. Those are internships. Our students are required to do 3 semesters of internships, typically a summer internship where they might go work on a golf course or a sports field or for a lawn care company, so on. And then they'll typically do a summer followed by fall or a spring followed by summer internship, and that completes their requirements for the 3 semesters of co-op.
Okay. So are there any other experiential learning opportunities for them on campus during their time getting their degree?
Absolutely. And most of our students do work. They may work for athletics on sports field management. They may work at the MSU golf course for our adjunct faculty, Pat Sneed, who's the superintendent. They have a number of golf courses around the area, including those in West Point, Mossy Oak, and Old Waverly, or the local Starkville Country Club, the Links. So there's a lot of opportunity for employment. I employ many undergraduates in my program as student workers.
Okay, excellent. What are most of these students hoping to do post-graduation?
Get a job, and that's not a problem. More than 90%, probably 95% of our students get a job in either golf course or sports turf management, with the idea that they're either going to be a certified golf course superintendent in 5 or 6 years down the road, or that they're going to be a Sports Turf Managers Association, STMA, certified sports turf manager. So those are superintendents, sports field managers spread out around the world doing what they have been trained to do. Wow.
So obviously lots of golf and sports opportunities. Do our graduates do any other field with that degree?
Many students go on to form their own businesses. Those may be lawn care operations, LCOs. They may go work for architecture companies that are designing outdoor living spaces. So there's a lot of opportunity beyond just the golf and sports turf management, the namesake of our program.
Excellent.
Certainly. Yeah.
Well, I think we have a sampling of photos from your program that we'd like to talk through some of the technical aspects of the Golf and Sports Turf Management Program.
Yeah, this is a picture of a harvesting device. I think most of our incoming students don't necessarily think of sod production as a branch of agronomy, but there's a lot of big equipment, a lot of fascinating engineering that goes into these types of things, a lot of agronomy, and so that's something we're really excited about. I actually have a student you'll interview later that's doing some work in sod, relative to sod harvesting. We employ a lot of new technology like what you see in this photo, which is an unmanned aerial vehicle. That's a drone, for lack of better words, and it is able to measure a lot of different things to do with turf management, and so it's an exciting part of what we do. Excellent. And then we also do work in native landscapes that are surrounding golf courses. These are areas that are low maintenance. I've got a student, actually an extension associate, Michael Richard, who's looking at native grasses for wildlife habitat in and around golf courses, and so that's something that's really neat. We do a lot of tours around campus for incoming high school students. Anyone who's interested, they're more than welcome to contact me through admissions office, and we'll be glad to show them around places like Dudy Noble Field or Scott Field. So it's really exciting. And I've got a number of students doing research as well, and you'll get to meet one of them later. So that's an exciting part of our program. We're really excited to share that with folks, that there are a lot of opportunities doing research in our field beyond just going to be a superintendent or a sports field manager.
All right, well that's excellent. So for the last part, what is your favorite part of the turf management program?
dealing with students and seeing those students succeed, whether it's going on to be a superintendent or a sports field manager or going into business for themselves. So that's really exciting.
Thank you for being here with us, Dr. McCurdy.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll hear from a graduate student in the program.
The sense of place. We all have it, often grown from deep roots in small-town communities. At Mississippi State University, our Carl Small Town Center is strengthening these ties. With nearly 40 years of making a difference, we're revitalizing communities into welcoming places to work, live, and congregate. By weaving together the best pieces of our past with modern technology and amenities, we're creating the hometowns of the future. Places where lifetime memories can be made, where you have all the things you need, along with all the things you want. Through partnerships with our communities, we're identifying improvement opportunities, recommending paths forward, and creating the plans for a better tomorrow. Everyone remembers their favorite teddy bear, the reassuring love of their first puppy. They comforted us and made us laugh. For children battling abusive situations or post-traumatic stress disorder, the memories aren't as pleasant. That's why at Mississippi State University, we're pioneering a robotic technology that brings healing to those exposed to traumatic situations. Known as Therabot, MSU's robotic beagle includes lifelike features that allow it to move in ways that are both natural and nurturing. Its ultimate goal? To bridge the gap between two types of effective therapy, using real animals and their plush counterparts for emotional assistance. At MSU, we're proud to be changing the game in therapeutic recovery, even prouder to be putting lives back together again. Imagine research that opens new avenues of evidence for crime scenes. We are at Mississippi State University, where we ring true.
Welcome back to Influence. Our next guest is Eric Bagetsky, a second-year master's student in weed science. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell me about yourself and how you chose MSU for graduate school.
Okay. Well, I was born and grew up just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, in a town called Smyrna. And I grew up playing golf and baseball and loved being around sports. Unfortunately, when I got to college, I wasn't able to keep playing. So when I got to the University of Georgia, which is where I got my undergraduate degree, I discovered turf management. I knew I wanted to stay around golf. I wanted to stay around sports. So I decided, hey, let's see what this is. And I ended up loving it. Got my undergraduate degree there, and then I was looking for graduate school. And so I discovered there was a position open here at Mississippi State, and I always knew that the turf program here was very historical, very prominent in the Southeast, and I knew it would be a good opportunity for me to come to Mississippi State and get my master's degree.
Excellent. We're glad to have you. Tell us a little more about the academics of your graduate program in weed science.
Okay. Like you said, I am a weed science graduate student. It involves many different aspects of not just turf grass, but agriculture as a whole. My thesis is a turf grass project directly related to sod production. It's titled Effects of Pre-Emergent Herbicides on Hybrid Bermuda Grass Root Growth and Establishment.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it does have a weed science aspect to it, and I wanted to pursue weed science as opposed to an agronomy degree. I knew I wanted to stay in turf, but weed science, I kind of had the agronomic background getting an undergraduate degree in turf, and I knew having a weed science degree, it was a little bit more academically challenging, and I knew it would open up more opportunities down the road, maybe not just in turf grass, but in other aspects as well. So.
Okay, so that research, what does it involve in the practical sense?
Practical sense, well, my research is, like I said, directly related to sod production. And sod producers across, especially the southern part, use pre-emergent herbicides as a means to control weeds during establishment. Obviously, in a sod production scenario, you're wanting to harvest later on in the summer or growing season. And so the problem is some of these pre-emergent herbicides do affect establishment of Bermuda grass. So we're trying to evaluate different ways of helping these sod farmers out with providing them pre-emergent herbicides that don't affect establishment, and if they do, making sod farmers aware so they can better manage their weeds throughout establishment.
Excellent. I think we have some pictures from your current research and your current practical side of things, and a few from your internship. So we'll talk about those a little bit, and you can tell us about your many varied internship activities.
Okay, well, this is a picture of me. During my undergraduate degree at Georgia, I got the opportunity to work with the Atlanta Braves at Turner Field. A wonderful opportunity. I learned a lot. Obviously, working for the Braves, I grew up a Braves fan, so it was awesome for me to be out there on the field, and not only that, but learning different aspects of turf. And what a lot of people don't realize is, a lot of people think that turf management is just a golf course, become a superintendent. Not a lot of people realize that it's also sports turf as well. And there's other aspects. I mean, here I'm doing tamping around home plate and doing a lot of clay work that's obviously not grass. So there are different aspects to it. This is a picture I also, while I was a student, I worked with UGA Athletics. This is a picture of me on the football field after a football game, and another wonderful opportunity. I mean, managing turf at the highest level, and I just learned a lot about the actual turf grass aspects. This is a picture of me after I got here to Mississippi State using what's called a spectral reflectance device, and it basically measures the greenness of turf. And we use this, as I mentioned, in our establishment of grass. I could take this at different time intervals to determine how fast the grass is growing and how healthy that turf grass plant is. This is another picture of me using that same device. It's handheld, very cool device, gets us some really excellent data that we can analyze later to measure the time it takes to grow in these turf grass.
That's excellent.
This is my other project. You saw a field study that I did. This is one I actually did in the greenhouse, and I was specifically looking at the root growth and morphology of the roots, and seeing how these herbicides affect the root growth. If it inhibits root growth, or in some cases it actually helps them out with different aspects of the herbicide. So it was a very interesting project. We did this last summer, and we were actually just getting the paper out the door right now. It's very interesting. What we found was that even if they do initially affect the root growth, by the time you're coming to harvest in a sod production scenario, the hybrid Bermuda grass was able to outgrow these effects. This is me. This is back at the field study, just applying herbicides, applying the herbicides to control the weeds that kind of emerge after through the pre-emergent, that escape from the pre-emergent herbicide application.
That is very interesting, and we appreciate you sharing your research with us. We're glad to have you at Mississippi State.
Thank you. Yeah, you too.
And thank you for being with us on Influence and hearing more about turf grass management in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. We'll see you next time on Influence.